Here's the beautiful news. You are not your thinking mind. You are the one that thinks the thoughts. You are the one behind the mind. And I love if you think of the word human being. The human is like the physical part of you, but the being is who you are behind. And your mind is fascinating. Your mind is a beautiful tool when used properly. You are the one, like you're the orchestra leader kind of your mind and your thoughts. You're the one in charge. I always like to say, I'm the boss of the voice in my head. Hello, uplifters, beautiful people, and conscious leaders. I don't know about you, but we live in challenging and edgy times. Everywhere you look, you see anxiety, exhaustion, rushing, distraction, overwhelmment. Is that a word? Overwhelmment. People that are addicted to behaviors that aren't good for them, that they're unable to sleep at night. We live in a world that just celebrates doing more, moving faster, and thinking harder. Yet, that's a recipe for disaster. And despite all our intelligence and technology, so many people have never felt more disconnected from themselves, which is why I've dedicated this entire season to what I'm calling the bridge between business and spirituality. Call it consciousness, call it awakening, call it the return to yourself. I don't believe we're experiencing a crisis of intelligence, and I've made that comment before. We are experiencing a crisis of consciousness. Today, I want to talk about what it means to wake up consciously and how you can live more joyfully and freely in an unconscious world. Not someday, not after retirement, not when life slows down, but right now, because there's nowhere to arrive except right here. When has your life ever been more than right here? This is it, folks. And the more we learn, myself included, I am a student of this as much as I am a teacher. The more we learn that there's more to life than how we're living it, the more conscious we become. The habit of unconscious living is everywhere on the globe. Most people aren't living our lives, we're running through them. You get to the end of the day and you go, what the heck did I do today? What did I have for breakfast? Did I eat breakfast? I don't remember. We're just running and we're running on empty. Running has become a habit that is so ingrained in our society as proof of worthiness, which makes me even crazy. But doing has become an addiction. And it's almost like if you're not doing something, you're not worthy, which is absolutely ridiculous. And thinking has become our identity. Somewhere along the way, we stopped being in our bodies. We stopped enjoying the simplest pleasures, and we started living entirely in our minds, disconnected from our heart, disconnected from our gut, disconnected from our soul. If you remember past episodes, I just learned, which still excites me, so I'm going to share it again, that the word psyche, which we kind of equate with mind, really comes from the Greek word for soul. We've lost connection to our soul. And the Western world has become over-identified with thinking. We're living in our left brain all the time, thinking and thinking and thinking. And I equate it to those old-fashioned television sets. When I was a kid, the TV set had like a tube in it, I guess. I don't even know what it was called. And if you left the TV set running for a long time, it got hot. Think about your brains. We've become over-connected with our thinking, and our brains are running hot. And we're literally disconnected from our body and soul. Again, the Greek word psyche referred to soul. But so much of our time is spent managing our thoughts that we don't realize we aren't our thoughts. Here's the beautiful news. You are not your thinking mind. You are the one that thinks the thoughts. You are the one behind the mind. And I love if you think of the word human being. The human is like the physical part of you, but the being is who you are behind. And your mind is fascinating. Your mind is a beautiful tool when used properly. You are the one, like you're the orchestra leader kind of your mind and your thoughts. You're the one in charge. I always like to say, I'm the boss of the voice in my head. So years ago, I remember I loved bike riding, and I would get up really early in the morning and I would challenge myself, right? How far can I go in an hour? I would always try to get the most miles in. And I come home like after a 20-mile bike ride, and I'd be so like proud of myself. And I would go to a calendar that I literally hung on the back of my closet door. And I felt proud, bike 20 miles every day, bike 10 miles, bike 15 miles. I would feel proud because I got to write it down. But one day it hit me. I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't remembering the ride. Have you ever gotten caught up with something so much that you were just so excited to say you did it that you didn't enjoy while you were doing it? I didn't remember the trees. I didn't remember the breeze on my face, the birds singing. I spent 20 miles. Listen to that, 20 miles in my thinking brain. Da, 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 da. Man, my brain does not shut up, baby. It keeps going. I don't know about yours. Most people don't realize that their thinking brain is operating 24/7. So think about that. Think about how many hours you spend in your day inside your head, right? You might get up and go to work, drive to work, go to meetings, talk to people, have things going on, deal with your kids, whatever you're doing in your life, but you're not present in the doing. So many people on the planet are running on autopilot. I mean, you think about it, you go eat your lunch and you didn't taste it. So if I go back to my bike analogy, my body was riding the bike. My mind was somewhere else, wasn't in the moment. I wasn't conscious. How many moments do you miss because you're so busy documenting your life that you never experience it? I saw someone did a post. He was like, remember when we were kids and we had film cameras and we took a picture of our dinner and then we brought the roll of film to the store and we developed the film and then we had all our friends over and we all looked at pictures of what we ate. And the guy's like, no, because we didn't do it. So stop doing it now. It made me laugh because we have to see the humor in how crazy our life has become. The other place I started noticing, and have you ever noticed, like after you leave a conversation, someone might be talking to you, and after you leave the conversation, you were nodding, you were making eye contact, you were saying yes in the conversation, but 5 minutes after you leave it, you go, they said that really important thing, and I did not respond the way I could have responded. Why didn't I respond the way I could have responded? Because I was unconscious. Because I was there, my body was there. I was going through all the motions like I was listening. I'm smart enough to do that. But I really wasn't present in the conversation. I've done it so many times, but this is where I want you to start to think and stop thinking. I want you to say, oh my gosh, I could be better. I could do something differently. Think of the times that you're not physically absent. Think of the times you're not physically present or you're mentally absent. I mean, think about it with your spouse. Think about it with your kids. Think about it with whoever you're in contact with, where you're there, your body's there, but you're really not present. How often do we do this with not only the people we work with, but the people we love? How often are we listening just enough to answer instead of listening to deeply understand, to even listen beyond the words, underneath the words, what's the person communicating? What are they saying with their body language, with their energy, with their emotions? Presence, your presence, my presence is one of the greatest gifts we could give one another as a human being. So I used my TV analogy before. Our minds are overworking. They're overheated. I use that television analogy that if you left your television running all day, or maybe even your computer, let's use your computer. That's probably a more, well, I don't know, but your computer powers down, right? So think about that. If your computer was left on and it didn't power down, it would get hot. Our minds are no different. But yet we have left our mind on for years, nonstop thinking, nonstop planning, nonstop worrying, nonstop replaying yesterday. Oh, the replaying is the worst. I always use the analogy of the word ruminate, which I love that word because it comes from the Latin ruminare, which means to regurgitate, like to, chew cud. That's what it literally means. So you're thinking the same thoughts today that you were thinking yesterday. And they might not have even served you yesterday, but yet you're still thinking them. My darling friends, you wouldn't dig in last night's garbage to find your meal for today, but yet that's what we do with our minds. We're digging up all the old worrisome, bad thoughts we had yesterday, and we're just introducing them the next day, predicting what the next day is going to be. No wonder we're exhausted. If your mind never gets a moment's rest and it's constantly running, it's overheated. And the problem isn't that we think. Thinking is beautiful. The problem is we rarely stop thinking and give it a rest. And that's where consciousness comes in. That's where presence comes in. Every breath is a new beginning. Take 3 breaths with me. You can breathe in and breathe out wherever you are. And here's what fascinates me. Your breath, taking a deep breath is like drinking a cold glass of water, right? It's regenerating your cells. So instead of, like I said, digging in the garbage for yesterday's thoughts, the argument you had yesterday, the things you regretted, the mistakes you made, the things that embarrassed you. Again, it's like stale thinking. It's like garbage thoughts, garbage food, like you're digging in the garbage can. I love that analogy. Meanwhile, this is what's so exciting to me. All your power is in this moment right here. When in your life are you not in this moment right here? This moment is all you have. So this is what's very exciting to me. It doesn't matter how many garbage thoughts or negative thoughts you had yesterday. They're old news, right? They're yesterday's news, so to speak. What matters is the thoughts you're having right now, in this moment, with this breath. If your thoughts were fearful yesterday and today they're peaceful, your life has already begun to change. You're experiencing more peace because your tomorrow and your future is created by what you're conscious of today, right now. Awareness brings freedom. Awareness brings freedom. When something unconscious becomes conscious, that's the beginning of freedom. And that's why I'm so excited for this season's podcast is the moment you're realizing you're being unconscious, you're shining the light of awareness on your thinking, and you've already stepped beyond it. How exciting is that? Knowing brings freedom. And here's the kicker. Oh my God, so many people don't realize that they are addicted to their thinking and that their overwhelmment is caused by the fact that their brain never gets a rest. So you listening to this podcast, just knowing this, brings freedom to your life. Judgment keeps you trapped. Acceptance opens the doors. And you know what? Sometimes when you're judging because you're thinking, hey, stop judging. Just accept. My monkey brain took over. I went on autopilot again. The minute you notice you're on autopilot, You're not on autopilot. And the more you do that repeatedly throughout the day, something extraordinary happens. Your mind gets rest. Your mind gets to be quiet for a moment. And when your mind is quiet, love enters. I've done past episodes about left brain, right brain, and left brain is your kind of thinking, organizing, language, get shit done and protect yourself mode. And your right brain is your love, your joy, your creativity, your wisdom. And by actually realizing that your thinking brain, right, your left brain, that's like da 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 all day long, when that brain takes a breath, love enters, creativity enters, brilliance enters. Every master, whether it's a poet or a singer or an artist or a podcaster, when they are in that right brain creativity, all beautiful things are created by the right brain. They aren't created by forcing you something. It's kind of like, sitting down at your desk at 9:00 and making yourself be creative versus letting yourself be creative. Letting the brain be quiet for a little while and letting the love enter and the joy and the peace. Not because life changed, you changed. You are becoming more present. You are becoming conscious in an unconscious world. This is the start of freedom. Freedom, baby. We all want freedom. But if our thinking minds are possessing us, we are not free. So addiction and emotional avoidance is what you want to look at. Every addiction. I want to take a moment to go over all the ways we can connect and work together because there are so many. Definitely social media. You could subscribe to my newsletter by going to energizeyourhappiness.com, clicking on the key performance logo in the upper left-hand corner, which will prompt you to add your email. And when you do that, you will receive for free my 5 super habits that energize your result. You can continue to keep listening to this podcast. And if you hear something that resonates, that helps you, please share it with your friends and family. This podcast is a labor of love and it is fully funded by myself. You can read my books. Happiness is a Habit, Energize Your Happiness. Energize Your Happiness is available in book form and on audible.com. And if you like the books, please rate and review. I do a tremendous amount of one-on-one executive coaching. I pride myself on my one-on-one VIP retreats where it's you and me for 48 hours, focusing on what's important to you and how to add more meaning and fulfillment to your life personally and professionally. We can work together to do one-on-one assessments. I am certified in over 20 different assessments. You take the assessment online. And then one-on-one, we have a Zoom call where you get a personalized debrief session with me. I also have a self-guided online video program based on my first book, Happiness is a Habit. This book has been curated into 18 beautiful videos and an 80-page workbook, which you could do as a self-guided study, or you can hire me to coach you along through it and support you. One of my favorite things to do with burnt out executives is the Energized Leader 90-day reset experience. I do tons of keynote speaking, 1 day, full day and half day workshops, Zoom and virtual workshops. So from podcasts to books, to executive coaching, to workshops, to transformational leadership, all of this work is not about faking it. This work is about emotional mastery, energetic alignment, and courageous leadership, and consciously writing an outcome that you want to live. So you can reach me at energizeyourhappiness.com. All of these things are on my website, or you can email me directly. Michele@energizeyourhappiness.com. Thank you and make it a great day. Ken's the same way. Not because someone wants to destroy themselves, but because they're not comfortable in the present moment. I've told the story in the past and I'll tell it again, but when I was going through my divorce, I was lonely and I was scared. So I didn't want to feel lonely and scared. So what did I do? I went out at night drinking. And I'm not a big drinker, but one drink would lead to 2 drinks, would lead to 3 drinks. And then because I drank too much in the morning, I would give up my workout. Oh, I won't work out today. I need to sleep. And those of you who know me, I'm like the habit woman. Like I have been working out like my entire life. I don't miss a week of working out, but I could see how the addiction to alcohol and to numbing my lonely feelings could start. So I share addiction with you guys, not because I'm judging anyone, but because it starts usually innocently. And every addiction starts with pain and ends with pain because usually we start the addiction because we don't want to sit with the present uncomfortable emotions. So we distract ourselves. We numb ourselves. We scroll, drink, overwork, overeat, stay busy. That's a good one. When you're so busy, always busy doing for everybody else, you're not taking any time for you. You want to do anything except feel what you're feeling. And the Latin root of the word emotion means disturbance, right? Emotion is to move. It's it's a moving disturbance in your body. But they're designed to move through us, not become permanent residents. So that's why you have to feel the emotions, notice the emotions, bring awareness to the emotions, and then the light of your awareness dissipates them. And you're able to come back to being the most beautiful, brilliant person that you are. The thing I realized too over this work is sometimes I would think, I don't want to go there. I don't want to bring up those negative emotions from the past. And then I realized that any negative emotion from the past, I already survived it. You already survived it. So bringing it up in the conversation is, or bringing it up to your own psyche is healing. And, again, I say this also, I am a coach, not a therapist. And I always say a therapist looks back, a coach looks forward, but you don't need a therapist to know whatever's coming up in your life right now as a frustration is where you need the work. Everybody in your life is here to help you grow, whether you like it or not. So look at those people in your life. And once you see you're the common denominator and you look at these uncomfortable emotions, they start to dissolve. They start to lose their grip on you, not immediately, but naturally. I remember years ago hearing, I think it was Deepak Chopra, talked about some things. He talked about, do you want to lose weight? Do you want to quit smoking? Do you want to have better relationships? He said, then just be conscious of what you're doing. I thought, what does he mean by that? And he said, if you want to smoke a cigarette, don't do anything else. Be conscious, right? And what does that mean? That means that you're fully engaged in the activity. Remember my biking story? I was biking, but I was in my brain and I wasn't seeing the trees or enjoying any of it. But if I'm going to smoke that cigarette, feel it, take it in, and listen to what your body, mind, and soul are telling you. And then usually the more conscious you are, you realize smoking, not a very good habit. Think about eating consciously. Just sitting with your food, blessing the food, blessing the people and all the hands that it took to get that food in front of you. Bless the nourishment it's going to give your body, and then take a bite and chew and taste and breathe and swallow. Don't rush. Can you taste all the flavors? Can you feel the texture? Can you chew it? Again, sometimes we're just so unconscious. So Conscious leaders do something very different. And this is why I keep bringing this back to this episode, that we are in a crisis of consciousness. It's also a leadership crisis. And again, I always say you are a leader in your life. So you might have people reporting to you on an org chart, which is a leader, but you are leading in your relationship. You are leading in your family. You are leading in your community. And the smartest leaders aren't always the widest. The smartest leaders aren't always the wisest leaders. Conscious leaders don't react. They respond. Very big difference. They don't create unnecessary drama because they aren't unconsciously feeding it. Instead of asking, how do I control everyone around me? They ask, what is this moment trying to teach me? Instead of wishing life were different, they use the experience as an opportunity to grow. I love the old Jim Rohn quote, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. And really paying attention to when your fight and flight goes on. I always notice when my fight and flight goes on and I start to get, I get to get unconscious because, all of the energy wants me to fight or flee. And I realize I'm not connected to my brain. And I just literally say to myself, Michele, are you being conscious? How would a conscious person handle the situation? How would a conscious leader handle the situation? And it brings me back to myself because I'm awakened, I'm connected, and then I'm able to transcend the emotions that want to take me off course. So I want to share with you some practices that help you awaken, help you wake up. How does one become more conscious? And unfortunately, human beings, we're so funny as a species sometimes. As long as we're comfortable, we usually don't do anything. But life is becoming increasingly uncomfortable for a lot of people because thinking has overtaken us. We are so busy thinking and our brain never gets a break that the anxiety is on the rise, depression is on the rise, addictive behaviors are on the rise, suicide in younger adults is on the rise, all stemming from our mental health. So our mental health is very important. So whether you believe in awakening or consciousness, hopefully you believe in your own mental health. And being awakened does not require you go to a monastery. It begins with you being very ordinary in the regular moments of your life. It begins with you being aware of your breath. It begins with you being aware of your body on the chair you're sitting on right now. If you're walking across the room, being aware of your feet on the floor, just starting to be aware in your body. Everyone on the planet is breathing if you're alive, but very few people are actually even aware they're breathing. So I always say 3 conscious breaths can interrupt anxiety, dissolve tension, and return you to yourself. 3 conscious breaths are like meditation. And I love the metaphor of like drinking a cool glass of water. And you could practice breathing anywhere. You could practice breathing in the car. You could practice breathing in an airport. You could practice breathing before a meeting, during the meeting, standing in line at the supermarket. Think of your breath as your daily nourishment. It's the first thing that lets you know you're alive, and it's the last thing you do before you leave. And every cell in your body loves when you're focused and breathing and still. I love the funny saying, I think I read in a Thich Nhat Hanh book, don't just do something, sit there. Don't just do something, sit there. Can we learn to sit without expectation? Not trying to achieve anything, do anything, not trying to become enlightened. Just enjoy breathing, enjoying being alive. I always tell people to spend more time with trees than screens. If you look at a tree, I'm looking out the window at the trees, they look like they're not doing anything, but think about the life running through a tree. It's giving life to everything around it. It's creating our ability to breathe. And it always fascinates me, I think, in the fall when a tree is going through its stages, right? It stops, I think, making chlorophyll, and all the leaves begin to dry because they're not getting the nourishment, and it goes dormant, but there's still life. That tree is going to spring to bloom, right? And spring to bloom. It's going to bloom in the spring. And we are the same. We have cycles. So the other thing we do in our society is we try to be fast, and we try to always be in summer mode, right? It's always spring and summer. We don't allow ourselves autumn and winter. But trees are beautiful representations of being. I like to think of some trees that are so old, they have so much wisdom. Another thing you could do to be more conscious is, as I said earlier, eat one meal each day consciously. Just eat your meal by yourself, no cell phone, no computer, no distractions, just you and the food. Notice every bite and celebrate being alive. Gratitude is something that gets so taken for granted. But again, be grateful of where you're sitting right now. The bed that you slept in last night. Are you grateful for your coffee maker, for your barista, for your microwave? All these modern things that help our lives become so much easier that we take for granted. So smiling's another thing. I always say breathing in, I smile. When I smile, it makes me laugh. It relaxes your nervous system. It's kind of like yoga for the face. And create affirmations that anchor you in the present. One of my favorite affirmations is everything is working out for me. Everything is working out for me. I say it over and over. One of my favorite Eckhart Tolleisms is make friends with the present moment. Eckhart Tolle says, accept this present moment as if you invited it. So my affirmation is, I am friends with the present moment. I'm friends with the present moment. I always like to say I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm always at the right place at the right time, and I trust the timing of my life's paths. So I hope today I gave you a lot of ideas for how to be conscious. While we've been talking about this in past weeks, it's something I've been working on my whole life, and it always just gets deeper and deeper. I've even made it a habit. Last year, 2025, was a very busy year for me personally and professionally. And when I get to the end of the year, I like to make picture books. I go through all my photos and I create books. And yeah, I don't even know how to say this. I feel like I went on like 12 vacations last year. I went on a lot of big vacations to the Dominican Republic, to Yellowstone, to St. Kitts, to Cancun, plus a lot of shorter trips. I'm thinking Phoenix. I can't remember where I was. I was in a lot of places last year. So some of the bigger vacations were personal. Some of the smaller ones were business vacations that I turned into personal vacations. And I did a lot of running. And I got to be honest with you, I started this episode talking about running, and I was the one running the fastest. And I said, Michele, what are you trying to prove? Why are you running so fast? So I really made a conscious decision that 2026 would be different. I've taken some trips this year, yes, and I travel for work still, but everything has been on a more conscious basis. I have made time in my life for painting, for floating in the pool, for being with trees. So I want you to look at your life and, what's feeding you, what's going really well. Power to you, high five. I love it. You're fabulous. What could be different? And it could be just slight tweaks. Something I've also tweaked recently is I'm trying to get up earlier in the morning to have more quiet time. So there's so many things you can do that will raise your consciousness. Again, breathing. It doesn't have to be, people always say, I can't meditate, it's so hard. Just breathe. One of my favorite meditations is breathing in, I smile. Breathing out, I'm awake. Simple. Breathing in, I smile. Breathing out, I'm awake. That's really the invitation today, to wake up. Not to a different world, but to this one. You know, when you are slowing down to the speed of joy, which is a book I read, which I love that title, you take in the colors. And if I go back to my bike analogy, when you're out on your bicycle, you're smelling the air, you're seeing the trees and the colors and the sky, and you're feeling the wind on your face, and you're not missing it. You're present in your life. Because when you learn to transcend the compulsive thinking of your mind, you discover that life really is beautiful. The present moment dissolves any suffering from yesterday. The present moment is not fearful, right? Any fears you have for tomorrow, where are they right now? They're not here. You transcend. The word transcendence means to rise above, not by escaping life, but becoming fully alive in life. You're within it. You are a part of it. And that is what the world needs right now. There's another great quote that's coming to me that says, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, and do that. Because what the world needs is more people that have become alive, not more information, not more doing. We need more conscious human beings. Conscious leaders create conscious families and conscious teams and conscious organizations, and ultimately a more conscious world. Can I say that again? Conscious leaders create conscious teams and conscious organizations and conscious families and a more conscious world. I just was on a one-on-one coaching call with a gentleman who was headhunted away to a new company, and he went and got all these beautiful things promised to him. But he said the unconsciousness, the speed, the rushing, and the toxicity of the organization, he couldn't do it. He said, everything has a price, and I want to live in a conscious company. So he has actually gone back to his old company. So if today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to continue our journey together. If you are looking for a keynote speaker to help your organization build more consciousness, emotionally intelligent leaders, I'd be honored to work with your team. If you're ready to deepen your own leadership, ask me about executive coaching and retreats. I did a one-on-one retreat last week in Minnesota, and it was so fulfilling. And the retreat, let me give you a little quick rundown of what the retreat was. You know, notebook work in the morning, some journaling work. Then we took a walk. Then we did more journaling work, exercises. Then we went to beautiful lunch. And just had conversations about leadership. You know, what would make the day a success? What would make your leadership a success? And then we went walking at a beautiful nature preserve. Again, all the time talking about what's important to you in your business and professional life, professional and personal life. So again, I'd love to speak at your corporation or your association. I'd love to work with you one-on-one. Don't forget to get my free leadership resource. If you go to energizeyourhappiness.com and click on the key performance logo, you'll get my 5 habits that energize your results. Until next time, my conscious leaders and beautiful uplifters, take a deep breath, wake up, and remember, you have the power to write your outcome. If you liked what you heard and you want to go deeper, and you know you are part of this new earth and this new awakening that is happening on the planet, please go right now to wherever you are listening to this podcast and subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Please rate and review to give it a bigger boost, and that will bring more people to the podcast. And stay tuned for more engaging conversations on Write Your Outcome, where this season we are walking the edge between business and spirituality.